Hunter, having regained consciousness, still had a ways to go before he was cleared to fly again. That was all well and good, as he seems to have lost his confidence as to whether he ever should fly again. The smiling nurse, whose bedside manner was just the right amount of sarcastic, bossy, and kind, warned him that there were still some tests they had to run, and also mentioned that he'd heal faster if he'd cheer up. As she excuses herself to finish her rounds, a different visitor was waiting in the doorway. There was a time Lisa Hayes would be the last person on the ship Rick would want to see, and a time he'd be the last pilot she'd visit. But Rick couldn't help but feel this was a very pleasant surprise, that the lieutenant commander would come all the way into the city, and with flowers no less.
Huh? Well, look who's here. Hey, why the long face? Did you come to bury Caesar?
Hello, Rick. I came to say that I'm sorry.
You came up here to apologize? To apologize for what, for Pete's sake?
For your being in here. We both know that it was my instructions that were responsible for your being seriously injured.
Lisa, you weren't responsible. I have no one to blame for this but myself. I'm here because I made a mistake in judgment and for no other reason, okay?
Thanks for your generosity.
What's happened to that old command confidence? This isn't like you at all.
No, Lieutenant Hunter, I don't suppose it is at that. Anyway, I said what I came to say. Now I have to get back to my duties on the bridge. Get well.
Thanks, Lisa. Will you come see me again?
I don't think so, Lieutenant. I'll be too busy.
Huh.
Man, women are complicated. At least Rick sure thought so. He hoped she knew he truly didn't blame her for what happened in that battle, but he could never have guessed the reasons it happened to begin with. He wouldn't know all the inner turmoil she currently carried. One person who could see it clear as day was Claudia Grant. She had only guessed that it was Lieutenant Hunter that Lisa went to visit, but Lisa absent-mindedly confirmed it. Claudia encourages Lisa to go ahead and not be shy about it, reminding Lisa how things were very much the same with her and Roy in the beginning. Lisa's biggest concern is knowing Rick's heart is somewhere else, and she's sure he doesn't return her feelings for him. So Claudia advises that Lisa admit to herself that she's in love with Rick Hunter, and then tells her it's okay to be vulnerable about it and let him know her feelings, though she says it in a very old-fashioned way. As Captain Gloval enters the bridge and asks for a status report, he can tell he walked in on an important conversation, wondering if there's anything he should know.
Stop moping and smile more often. Captain?
I want to be informed the moment we have completed supply loading operations.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It has already been so ordered, Captain Gloval.
Is there anything else that I should know?
Nothing of any particular importance, Captain. I was just briefing Commander Hayes on military procedures of quite a different nature when you arrived on the bridge.
Well, it's unlikely we'll require any hand-to-hand combat expertise, but carry on.
Henry J. Gloval wasn't born yesterday. He could tell what was going on. And I like that he's so discreet and kindly about it, leaving them to their military procedures, as Claudia put it. Minmay was playing on the radio in Rick's room. Really, he may not have listened to her by choice, but her songs were basically everywhere on the ship these days, and hearing her was helping him sort out his weird dreams about her, but also kinda helped him wallow in his self-imposed misery. Yet he completely perks up when he sees his big brother barge into the room, dragging along a couple of stray squad members who missed their squadron leader.
Huh?
Hi there, buddy. How goes it?
Hi, big brother.
Hey, what gives? Can't you keep out of trouble? Here, this is for you.
Roy thought of everything, not only bringing Rick's other buddies along with him, but he knew how bored he and other pilots get when they're laid up in the hospital. Knowing Rick would need something to occupy his time, he brought him a model plane as a gift. And not just any model plane. It was a FOKKER biplane. I think a D-7, a World War I craft sharing Roy's namesake. I love that he just tosses the plane onto Rick's lap and immediately leans into giving him a hard time for being a big loafer laying around in bed. Ben hears Minmay on the radio and turns it up, but hearing her more,
Oh, can it?
clearly quickly sours Rick's mood. Roy knew how low morale could get after a pilot gets grounded while he heals up, but Rick was in it deep. Max had never seen his buddy so low and suggests they get Minmay to come give him a personal command performance right here. But as soon as the words are out of his mouth, the look Rick shoots him helps Max realize he'd said exactly the wrong thing. Rick says he figures Minmay is too busy to visit a washed-up fighter jockey like himself. When Ben densely jokes with Rick that maybe then he'd be willing to set Minmay up with himself, Rick threatens to punch him in the nose instead, and that's when Roy realizes maybe they were doing more harm than good with his visit, dragging Ben towards the door. Max is sure Minmay must be the one who brought Rick those flowers, but Rick confesses it was Lisa Hayes that brought them by. Ben wants to know why, but Roy pulls him away before he can make Rick's condition any worse. Max really just wants to help Rick out, and he remembers, well, walking in on Rick and Lisa that one time, and sort of hints that maybe it's a great thing that Lisa brought by those flowers, you know? It's gotta mean something. But all of this makes Rick lock up. Max can see he'll do no more good here, but good-naturedly salutes his squad leader and wishes him luck getting better soon. As they walk down the street, Roy is thinking out loud, knowing that if they can't help Rick lift his spirits soon, he'll be in that hospital for months. Poor Ben just wants to know how he can help, but Roy probably figures Ben has helped enough. After making a phone call to the person on this ship who seems to know everything going on everywhere inside it, he meets her at the best cafe in Macross. Claudia just wants to know if this meeting is for official business or personal.
This time a little of both, perhaps.
All right, then. Since you inquired about Minmay on the telephone, it leads me to believe that's what the official business is all about. At least I hope so.
It is about her. You're right. I was hoping to track her down for a friend of mine who could use some cheering up.
Well, you came to the right place because I happen to know that she's working on a motion picture.
Great.
You'll find her on the set every day. Now, can we get to the personal part of the conversation, Commander FOKKER?
Sure. Exactly how personal did you want me to get?
Dinner tonight?
You got it, kid. But I'm only coming if you promise to make your famous pineapple salad. Right now, I gotta get going. I'll see you later. About 7, okay?
Sure, Commander FOKKER. Dinner tonight, if we're lucky, breakfast.
I love that Claudia grabs the teacup he was using and cradles it close, just imagining the lovely night they have ahead of them. Elsewhere in the city, Rico, Conda, and Braun are researching the latest Micronian technological breakthrough.
Minmay dolls, get your Minmay dolls right here. Step right up. Get them while they last. Last chance, it's Minmay herself. When these beauties are gone, there won't be any more. They're not available in any store. They dance and sing just like the real Minmay. Battery's not included. Wouldn't you love to have one for your very own?
I'd love to have one for my very own. It's ROBOTECH.
We must seize one of them on my signal. Now! Hey, watch the table. Don't push. Take it easy. Ah! Grab it. Busted hoodlums. Somebody will have to pay for this.
If it were up to me, I would have grabbed the Tekotoku Valkyrie, Astro Boy, or Gigantor toys that are back there. I'm just saying. Not far away, a very bored trio of bridge officers walk along with nothing better to do on their day off than go into town and hope for the best. Eagle-eyed Vanessa is the first to spot a trio of dudes coming around the corner, acting very suspiciously. Being entranced by their latest bounty they've just snagged, Rico and the boys don't notice Sammy, Kim, and Vanessa until they're right in their faces. The girls are kind of intrigued by how weird these guys are acting, and tease them for how obsessively they're poring over that Minmay doll in their hands. As Vanessa asks sarcastically what planet they're from, acting so strangely, The spies are aghast. Feeling on the verge of being discovered, they nearly panic, saying they work across the street.
Right over there.
Do you mean you work at the disco?
Yeah.
We go to the disco all the time.
I wonder why we've never met any of you over there before.
What is a disco anyway? Ugh.
Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't we all go over there together?
What a wonderful idea! Yippee!
I want the big handsome one.
Oh, come on with me.
Can't we talk this over? Huh? Do you suppose this disco thing is some sort of Micronian method of torture?
We must perform our duty.
Right.
No matter what terror was in this disco, these ZENTRAEDI warriors would face their fate bravely. And at least Sammy, Vanessa, and Kim weren't bored anymore. If only they knew the wild time they were now in for. In space, within KHYRON's ship, which was now missing the front quarter of it, having lost it to the Micronians recently, he found himself enduring mocking from ace pilot MIRIYA PARINO. She was having a wonderful time pointing out how these puny Micronians have humiliated KHYRON time and time again. A frustrated KHYRON knew she was just simply ignorant of how crafty these creatures were and throws it in her face.
Just whom do you think you are?
I am the finest combat pilot of all the ZENTRAEDI forces.
Your ego is going to become the cause of your ultimate destruction, MIRIYA.
Just as yours caused you to be down in the Micronian Sea and made you an object for ridicule to all those whom you command, KHYRON.
I can see that because you have never faced a worthy opponent, you believe you are something special. But take care, MIRIYA, for there is one aboard that alien ship whom you cannot best.
So, an ace aboard the SDF-1. Interesting. I'd like to meet him.
Whether KHYRON meant Rick Hunter, whom he'd gone toe-to-toe with and possibly seen at the Battle of Mars, or KHYRON had actually meant the blue Micronian fighter who had reputationally downed many a battle pod, it isn't clear. But MIRIYA's desire for a worthy challenge, and her intrigue of finding one among the fleet of Micronian fighters, was very clear indeed. Roy found his way onto the set of the movie Minmay was starring in, and nobody seemed to be stopping him. I suppose there wasn't a terrible amount of security needed inside the ship, which spoke of the way the citizens of Macross truly look after one another. And who would question a decorated soldier who seemed to have business on the lot? Roy finally spots Minmay, who is happy to see him, and she rushes down the stairs to greet him. His charming hello, as well as his uniform, does not go unnoticed by Lynn Kyle. Minmay excitedly points out her cute hair and wardrobe work they'd done on her, but also asks about Rick. Surely he came too, and must be hiding somewhere? That's when Roy mentions to her how Rick isn't seriously hurt, but he is in the hospital. She shouldn't worry, but Roy knows that a visit from her would be worth more than all the medicine in the world. Their familiar way of speaking is upsetting to Kyle, as he'd rather not have Minmay speaking with anyone in the military, or possibly any other man for that matter.
So that's why you're here.
That's right, Minmay. I think you should come and see him.
Of course I'll come. If it weren't for Rick Hunter, I wouldn't even be here to talk about it now.
That a girl, and I'm sure he'll be real pleased to see you.
Commander.
Huh?
If you're through wasting Minmay's time, I wonder if we could get back to work.
Of course.
Hey, we need you on the set, sweetheart.
Coming! Bye, Commander.
Bye. That's a charming fellow. Well, if that girl doesn't give Rick's spirits a lift, I don't know anything that will.
Commander FOKKER, come in, please.
Yes, what is it?
One enemy ship is headed this way and closing fast, Commander. Captain Global has given the order to intercept.
Message understood. Have Sterling and Dixon stand by just in case I need them to accompany me. If this is a full-scale assault, I don't want any unpleasant surprises. Acknowledge?
Yes, sir. They have already been informed.
I read you loud and clear, Base. I'm on my way.
It's cool that Roy specifically asks for Ben and Max to join up with the Skull Squadron. He knew their worth as excellent pilots. That's why he assigned them to Rick in the first place. But his instincts, sharp as a tack after countless battles, told him their skills would be especially needed for this battle. Azonia's personal flagship hovered in the upper atmosphere. MIRIYA had requested this special mission, and Azonia knew how restless troops could get in a ceasefire. She allowed MIRIYA her hunting trip, as long as she did not attack the battle fortress directly. MIRIYA orders her battalion of ZENTRAEDI warriors to stand back once she had identified this Micronian ace pilot KHYRON had spoken of, and leave his destruction to her and her alone. The bridge crew alert the captain of the enemy movements, and he orders all fighters launched. On the deck of the Prometheus, we see Max and Ben as they join up with the Skull Squadron as ordered, and witness as Max launches via the catapult, headed for the dance of his life. Roy is late to the show, but eager as ever.
Skull Leader takeoff preparations completed.
Your squadron is already in the air, Commander. Good hunting.
I'll be hunting for a pineapple salad.
It sounded like he said he was hunting for pineapple salad.
You must be mistaken.
At last, our commander arrives.
No cracks, Hotshot. We're gonna have our hands full, so just keep your eyes open and your trigger finger ready.
You got it, Lieutenant. Affirmative, sir.
Okay, heads up. There they are, you guys, at 11 o'clock. Let's go get them. Attack!
Attack! Now where is this great enemy ace that KHYRON fears so?
The pilots of the SDF-1 knew these green alien power armor troops could be nimble and fierce. As intense as the battle quickly became, Roy quickly dispatches the first of many targets in this dogfight. Max Sterling had already been set loose of his wingmen, they knowing it's best to give him room to do his thing, high above the clouds. A Quadrano launches a circus of missiles at his blue veritech, which he rolls to avoid, exploiting his fighter's mode changing to perfectly move around the missiles and swiftly destroy the ZENTRAEDI who launched them. As he finds even more targets, ending them just as swiftly, his aerial abilities catch the eye of MIRIYA, who determines from his kill count racking up that this must be the Micronian warrior KHYRON spoke of.
Now you die.
She zigzags through the sky in her approach to him, nearly clipping him as they move back and forth around each other, evading missiles and bullets alike, neither one landing a hit. MIRIYA is already impressed, commenting on what a devil she now fights. She leads Max along as he opens up full throttle to chase after this green nightmare. None of his shots connect, just barely missing it. And as MIRIYA returns fire, Max switches modes to move away until he can gain an advantage.
You can't dodge forever.
As she goes after him, Lisa and Claudia, monitoring the flight groups, find it odd that the enemy isn't attacking the battle fortress. Also, one ZENTRAEDI seems to almost have a personal interest in engaging Max Sterling. Lisa wonders if he's possibly been singled out, as surely the enemy has noticed his prowess in battle. Global orders that Sterling return to the ship immediately, reasoning that if the enemy on him gives chase, it will indicate if Lisa is correct.
Max, the base is asking you to retreat. Right now.
What? You want me to retreat? Wait, I don't get it. What's the big idea, huh?
That bandit on your tail is trying too hard.
So what?
So they want to find out what his game is.
You got it.
Now we know.
Inside the city aboard the ship, no one would even know of the epic showdown happening just outside, as Rick sits quietly in bed. But he's surprised as Minmay, of all people, actually comes through the door, looking every bit a movie star. She comments on how nice the room is and takes note of the flowers someone had brought him, but apologizes for not looking her best, since she's been working on her movie all day. He asks how she even knew about him being in the hospital, and she tells him about Roy letting her know. Rick swells with gratitude towards his thoughtful big brother, who's always gone the extra mile for him. She makes herself at home on the bed, which was probably a mistake, since she almost instantly starts falling asleep, even though it is by Rick's invitation that she go ahead and snooze for a while. He almost hates how much it warms his heart and lifts his spirits to have her there, since he knows it can't last for long. But in this moment, he is happy.
If I could just stay here for a little while.
Yeah. I don't understand what's happening to our world, Minmay, or what's going to become of us. But your safety and well-being makes it all worthwhile to me.
Let's get on with it!
Roy is still holding his own in this intense air battle, but even as he takes out another target, 3 others come in at his blind spot, pelting Skull 1 with laser fire. The shots blast small holes through the craft, but Roy skillfully avoids the worst of it, for the most part. He continues on, tracking his next target. Max had been on his way back to Prometheus, but his new rival was close behind, insisting they continue their aerial ballet, firing and returning fire of lasers, ammo, and missiles, neither one landing a shot on the other. It was then MIRIYA decided she simply needed to change the battlefield. The Micronians reportedly cared a great deal for their non-military personnel, and she knew she'd have an edge if her opponent felt they were in danger. She speeds off towards the SDF-1, and Max's eyes go wide as he realizes this bandit's intentions, but he won't be able to catch her before...
Their ship!
It's too late to stop!
They're heading this way, Captain! Straight for us!
Order all hands to battle stations and seal off the ship!
Rick knew those sounds could only mean one of 2 things. Either the ship was going to transform, or the enemy had penetrated their defenses and boarded the SDF-1. Either way, he had to see what was happening. He had to protect Minmay. All the hatches and holds aboard the ship shut off, every bulkhead closed, but MIRIYA was too quick for one of them.
This is it!
Run, little man, run.
Attention! The enemy has penetrated our defenses. Clear the streets and take cover. Take cover at once.
Hey, that's Max!
MIRIYA tore through the main streets of Macross City, giving no care to the havoc and destruction she caused, luring the blue fighter into her trap. But what she hadn't counted on was Max knew these city streets well and where to approach to come up on her more quickly than she'd anticipated. He almost casually tosses his gun pod into his right hand, takes careful aim directly at the green armored ZENTRAEDI, and finally lands a hail of rounds into it. MIRIYA is knocked down, knowing she had only survived as she'd been hit where her armor is thickest. Still, she'd never been shot down before, and was livid that not only was she now losing her duel, he wasn't finishing the job, lowering his gun pod in challenge to her, daring her to make the next move. Captain Gloval orders the hatches above the city opened, in hopes Sterling can chase this enemy out like a wasp trapped inside a house. MIRIYA realizes her disadvantage in this enclosed space and fires at Max, even as she topples the building next to her. As he shoots back, she takes the chance given to her and flies up and out of the battle fortress, launching missiles as a warning not to follow. A warning Max ignores as he flies after his dangerous foe. But the bridge officers know the battle is over, and they should take this as a win before risking any more harm to the ship's civilians. Max is ordered to stand down as Lisa tells Max he won and to head back, but Max feels it's a draw at best, wondering if he'll ever see this opponent again. MIRIYA, her body unharmed but her pride annihilated, swears that this Micronian will rue this day. Roy and the Skull Squadron continue battling as they push back the remaining enemy making their retreat, and as the final ship heads back to space, Roy calls in the squad to head back to their own base. Lisa is concerned, noticing Roy's altitude dropping, but he tells her he's all right, asking about what happened with Max. She assures him Max is fine and to bring his boys home, as Claudia looks on proudly at another Roy FOKKER victory. Minmay was sleeping soundly until her manager finds her. It seems clear she'd snuck off the set, and he's been looking for her all over town. She's used to his fussiness, but asks where the boy who'd been in the room went. Her manager is alarmed when she mentions a boy, thinking of the scandal, and tells her she doesn't have time for those kind of games. She's got a job to do, and people are waiting. And then he says a line that, for some reason, has always stuck with me throughout my life, no matter what job I've had or career path I've followed. And I've said it often.
My dad was right. I should have been a CPA.
Anyway, Roy's Skull 1 taxis in, and the mechanics note just how clobbered FOKKER got this time around. But they weren't prepared to see exactly just how bad the damage was, until they find something alarming inside the cockpit. Roy, meanwhile, had eagerly gone right to Claudia's, and now sat on the sofa, almost sullen, as he strummed a guitar, listening to her speak of her unending concern for him every time he goes up in his fighter. He understands, knowing she's not the only one concerned, always hiding the fear he feels every time under a facade of confidence and bravado that every veritech fighter pilot feels going up against the fierceness of the ZENTRAEDI. He couldn't afford to let it get to him, let alone show it to anyone, lest it get to his own head and lessen his keen pilot's instincts. But it was exhausting and takes its toll. And he'd been doing it for so long. Claudia finishes up her famous pineapple salad and simply wanted to voice her feelings, stating that it's almost as if all the pilots treat each battle like it's a game. Roy knows one thing for certain. It has never been a game.
Anyway, I've said what I had on my mind, and I promise that I'll keep my mouth shut about it in the future. Dinner's ready. What? Well, don't tell me I put you to sleep. Is anything wrong? Roy? Roy?
I'm terribly sorry, Lieutenant. We did everything we could to save him. He just lost too much blood. A terrible tragedy indeed. I can tell you Commander FOKKER will be sorely missed.
Lisa would have been one of the first to know, whether by monitoring comms, by Claudia's own words, or by casualty roster. But however she found out, she knew someone would have to tell Rick.
Huh? Oh, hi, Lisa. What brings you here this fine morning?
I'm sorry, Rick. Commander FOKKER is dead.
Commander FOKKER is...
He's dead.
What?
He was wounded and lost too much blood.
Big brother. My big brother's dead.